Hello, good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for joining me, everyone who's in. As per usual, I'm never ready for anything, as I should be. So yes, I was running a little bit late this evening. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those people who have been here waiting. I am here now, however. I'm sure that'll lighten up your day. Lovely. And today's plan is to paint. At least get some paint on the Terminators because as I was putting the entire box away. I noticed that the Terminators didn't have anything on them, so at least that was five. If I get done with them really quickly, to an extent that I'm happy with, what I'm going to do then is probably move on to doing the charity things that I picked up the other day because I like the look of them and they look really nice, and I would like to use them in D&D if possible. But that's a different matter entirely. We'll get onto that in the future if we have to. Okay. So good evening, everybody who's joined me. Kirsty, Sinscape, Buzzard, how's everybody doing? I mean, I've gone past a minute, I know how much. There are things I need to do, so if you just bear with me a few more moments while I actually finish my preparations off that I should have done ages ago. Right, so first of all, let's put that in there so that... Oh, it's really annoying. Oh, that is really annoying. I can't pin it because the stupid heart thingy my Bobby effort is in the way. Well, that makes that a whole lot more fun, doesn't it? So I can't pin that at the moment. So I'll pin that next as it moves a little bit further up for people to join if they wish to. There's no obligation for anyone to. But the option is there. Now, I don't know whether to try just contrasting these straight off or whether or not I want to paint them black first properly. Because they have had paint on them before and they've still got some paint on them. But yeah, I'm not sure how well it'll work. I think I'm going to have to paint them black first. Which I'm not too happy about, but still. I still have enough black left, which is good. Although this one looks like a very, very old black. In fact, in this case, instead of using this brush that I intend to actually use to paint with, I'm going to use something else to get black paint out. A technical method of using a lollipop stick. There we go. Plenty of it. Plenty of it. That's fine, Kirsty, but you've just done me a huge favour. You've just moved that comment up. So that means I can actually pin it now and get rid of the YouTube thingy in my screen. Thank you very much. See, that helps. Now I can get rid of that screen and I'm back to here. So you're not going to annoy me. You're going to take a lot to annoy me. That doesn't mean you have to go out of your way to try or anything. I'm assuming I've not got chipmunk voice because nobody's laughing their heads off at me, and I think I sorted it out earlier. I'm gonna have to double check that. As far as I'm aware, I've not got chipmunk voice. It works for a change. So yeah, and tonight's plan is painting Terminators because of the new box set that should be coming out in June. We should be having at least 5 more of them in it. Now they are going to be a slightly different scale to these, so the new ones will be a little bit bigger. But as I am in the process of thinking about putting my smaller marines on slightly bigger bases, so that they stand in a little bit better with the ones that are bigger than them. So I can do the same with these, put them on some tactical rocks or some rubble, just to bring up to roughly the same height. That's the idea anyway. But then again, you've also got the new Bretonian box set that's coming out, and I at least want I'll look at that to see what they've got for knights, because that would be quite nice. Sure, I've sent the link out to absolutely nobody at all. So unless anyone pops in and clicks it at this moment in time, I'm not going to have any guests. So it's just me at the moment that you're going to listen to. I'm sorry about that. Well, that was my intention, just me anyway, really, when I started this. Now, thank you very much for Sinscape for advertising me on their channel already. They actually done more advertising than I did for this, which is thankful and great. I'm grateful for. So how are you going to annoy me tonight, Kirsty? If that is your mission, let's see how it's going to work. See if you and Buzzard and Sinscape kind of work together and wear me up. And calling the painting rubbish isn't going to really work. Just in case anyone thinks you can get a cheap digging off that one. Nah, that one won't work. And, see, this is where an airbrush would be so much better. So much better. Having to do this with a brush is never fun. I should have done it when I undercoated these things the other day. I should have done it all at the same time. But stupid me didn't think. So now here I am on a Monday. Now you see his head looks okay. I might actually leave his head. Or should I? No, I'll paint it and then I'll give it the dry brush that the whole thing is going to get. Before I try contrasts. Ding in it. I think that's called the slab chop method. I don't know. It's the one that works. I know that much. I'm sure you probably could think of something. I'm sure there's at least 3 or 4 reviews between you can take the mic. And if I do have any silent viewers, if they decided to take the mic, I'm sure they could as well. Although I can think of 1 or 2 that I'll probably save it until they see me face to face and then do it. No, I way too much. I'm going to have to get rid of some water off that in a bit. Next time I clean it, I can't have that much water on it because it's so much has just come out of it a second ago. Essentially, I'm already done now. I don't need to water that paint down anymore unless it was to dry up, and I don't foresee that in any near future. Is it the Dulux method? I hear that is effective but not very good for detailing. Very quick though, very, very quick. Big tub of house emulsion and done. I mean, absolutely awful for detail. Yeah, you paint your models extremely quickly that way. How they do then? How they do then? Positive and mental attitude. Yeah, essentially that's the slap. What I believe been brandished these slap chop methods since Gabe. Essentially, it's kind of like Zenithal, but slightly heavier on the lighter tones. So rather than just giving it the single light source, which I've got these the wrong way around, it gives it kind of an all overish. Yeah, that takes about 30-ish minutes to finish a model if you can sit there and concentrate on it properly enough. And you're not having to force yourself to be live on YouTube just to get it done in the first place. Well, going off that, it should take me 2.5 hours to do. Yeah, 2.5 hours of this 5-man unit. There are quite that method. It's been around for quite a while. There are some YouTubers who got quite a following due to it because of how much of an improvement it made to their overall painting style and their look, and the improvement it made on them of their finished products overall. Obviously, they've refined it further since and getting very good at it actually. You can take it that stage further though. So once you've finished off with that stage and you've done what is essentially the dry brushing, and then you use your speed paints and you've got everything in that you want to do, providing that the speed paint you're using doesn't have the complication of the ones that I first used for speed paints, which was the army paint ones. No, sorry, I did use the contrast ones from Games Workshop first, but then I used the army painted ones because I wanted to try them. So I picked some up last year, and yes, they worked, but they had a problem of reactivating, which isn't good. So as I'm trying to paint something else over it later to go back and give it a more, that's the one. That's, yes, Miniature Hobbyist is the one. He actually built a manta out of sprue goo, I believe, which was pretty amazing. If I remember rightly, anyway. Yeah, he built a manta out of sprue goo, which was kind of good. Hello, Hanukkah. Right, I'm really sorry, I can't say that long name. I'm an ignorant British person. It is one of my many, 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 many greatnesses and flaws. So I'm going to say to Hanukkah. Helen, I will do fine. Thank you so much. Evening, Helen. That makes it so much easier. And Kevin7, how are you doing, Kev? You all right, man? How are you doing this evening? I've lost what trip I've there. Yes, Miniature Hobbyist was one who I first saw. Oh dear, what's that? Right, you're going to have to go to one side. So it's going to be a 4-man squad for tonight because I've just seen something I'm not sure about and I'm going to have to clean up tomorrow. Probably because I've been preoccupied doing the spraying on these that I've not been looking at all this lot properly. You're Hawaiian. Right, yes, I do struggle with, yeah, the pronunciations and the A's and the, yeah, it's just something I can't get my tongue around for some reason. shouldn't say try, because it's something that would be useful to actually be able to pronounce somebody's name. True, but even if you live in an island in Washington, if you've got Hawaiian heritage, you're going to have a Hawaiian name. Not providing your family wish to keep that way. Oh no, I'm going to live to the pharaoh. That's not good. That isn't good. I've lost my train of thought again. Again. I'm useless at trying to remember where I was up to. I was talking about something. I know I was. So I used to need someone to help me actually remember what I was saying. That's right. But never mind, I'll find something else to talk about. Oh, the 10th edition box set. I know I was at least talking about that and upscaling these guys as well as the smaller old school Marines to make them more Primaris sized. So putting them on things like rocks and cork and anything to raise them up roughly to be more understanding of the larger models. And it shouldn't be too much different to do this up to the new ones. So I think the new ones are only going to be about yay big, so it shouldn't be too much to put them on some cork or something, just a couple of mils. Or a couple of mil of caulking underneath a bit between the base, and it should push them up to the right level. So some of these have been sat in quite a lot of disarray. These are from the 5th edition starter box, I think it was, where you actually got Space Marines versus Orcs. So these are not too young a model either, but it's not a bad sculpt in general. Although I've got to say, I'm looking forward to the newer sculpts as these do come out. Leicester are getting pumped. Well, Leicester are getting pumped for. Don't tell me they're actually winning the game. They're actually doing something. So yeah, painting them black first. Definitely a better idea than leaving them that weird grey. Guess. Although I'm not sure what that thingy is on that one, so I'm going to have to have a look at that in a minute. Some of these are dusty. Some of these are really dusty. Especially this one. The problem if you don't leave them, don't take them out, you don't keep them on a display case where you keep them dusted and clean. Leicester losing to Liverpool. Oh well. As long as none of them have any grudges of going above United, I'm alright. I thought I was done with black paint. I really did. I thought I was done with painting black. Well, until I got some new models anyway. Which I'm hoping I can get that 10th edition starter box. It's going to be a pain to get. I know it is. Scalpers are going to be after it. Fingers crossed that they do what they did with the Indomitus box and do it. Right, okay, we sold out quicker than we thought we would. Here, if you want to order one, and as soon as we get it made, we get it sent out to you. that would be fine. I would much rather get one in the initial release, because then the options for trading are much higher. Because I want pure Space Marines. I don't want any Tyranids. I don't need Tyranids. I've got a Zenith faction in the Arcs, and I don't particularly wish to. Making an Arc War is far more complicated than making a Space Marine chapter. Put it that way. The Space Marine chapter at least has some degree of, right, there's this much in it. There's this many in it. And an Arc War, well, if you can count to 6 as an arc, you're intelligent. And anything above 6 is lots. And there's always lots in a war. Whereas lots is more representing the thousands rather than the. Well, as you can see, hell, you can see quite easily, black paint is also a problem for me. It gets everywhere. Actually, if I zoom out a little bit more, I see big black paint marks all over. It's a pain in general. Black paint is just, it's useful, but you've got to be careful with it. Back under the camera. See, if Mandy was there, she'll be shouting at me. Kirsty, are you not going to take over that role? Yeah. So yeah, that black paint was half a bottle of contrast, essentially, sliding underneath my mouse mat and all over my desk, and yeah, I wasn't too happy about it. But luckily, I caught it, so it was only half a bottle of contrast that went all over, not a full bottle of contrast. And I can't actually find it within my lives to remember where it is to rip it out as a shot, which is really annoying me because it might do well as a shot. So I'd have to find a way of ripping it out to do that. That means I've got to go back and find out, remember when I actually did it. Well, as any long-time viewer will know, my memory isn't the best thing in the world. And that is an understatement. A big understatement. My memory is one of the worst things that I've got. I've already forgot what I was talking about at least twice tonight. And that's only because I looked up and looked at the chat. That's all it took. I looked up. I always go back and check over, make sure you've done the areas on the other ones. You're not having to go back and redo bits really later on when it should have already been done. Oh, lovely. Yeah, that's why I tend not to throw my paintings into. I mean, I'll put them in unorganized sometimes, but I tend not to throw them back into anywhere. You don't want to be putting your hand into a wet box of paint after you've thought you've put them away. Especially when your hand comes out rainbow coloured, and then you're thinking, "Oh no, that's definitely more than one bottle that's gone." And streaks of blue, green, red, black. Did I get your undercarriage? Yeah, I got his undercarriage. Did we get an undercarriage? Yeah, I got his undercarriage. Okay, so that's 3 done. Ah, sounds like you're buying somebody a replacement desk in Sinscape. If it's not your desk and you managed to get a box stuck to it, I thought you got to do some serious cleaning up. Some serious cleaning up. I can end up using hand sanitizer to clean this. I tried using it on the other side as well, but it started bringing off the lines and the grid markings, so I had to stop with that one. It's never a good idea to bring up the grid markings. Never good. Because although I very rarely use them, I do use them sometimes. And in the times when I do need to use them, they are very useful. Mostly for when I'm using sheet. So if I'm using the sheets of foam or I'm using a slightly odd and large piece of cardboard, then yeah, very useful.
Sometimes I think about the future and I'm like, wait, no, I'm not going to be different on my parents.
So let's get these layers on black, and then hopefully I can get onto the dry brushing stage, which I forgot to bring anything to rub the dry. No, I can do it on that down there. I found something I can use for a rubby off dry brushy thing. That's panic over, panic over. All this just to get something for paint to for more paint to actually stick to. It's ridiculous what you gotta do sometimes with plastic, isn't it, really? Good evening, Lee. Good evening, good evening. The link is there at the top, which I've decided I'm going to start doing as opposed to trying to remember everybody to send the link out to, because I can never remember everybody and I always end up forgetting at least 3 people. So I decided I'm just going to pin the link, and obviously those who know they can come up can feel free to come up, and those who are A, more comfortable in chat, and B, don't wish to come up, don't have to. And by all means, the chat is there for you to talk away, message, and not have the potential of however many people on across the world looking at your face and staring at you, which is always a weird one to get over with YouTube. It's a very odd thing to do. Oh, that reminds me, I've got to pick up my new glasses this week. So next week I will have a pair of glasses on. They did offer me the anti-glare thingy lenses. I decided no. I did a quick check with my phone and the light on it, and they seemed okay, so I think I'll be alright. And I do have my first guest of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lee from Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. How are you doing?
Hello.
Are you
okay? See, you've got Helen in here.
I do have Helen in here, yes.
Yeah, she's a good supporter. She was over on me yesterday. I can't believe how many views I've had on my stream from yesterday.
Go on, how many? I'm curious now.
226.
226 views? Nice. What's your average viewer retention?
Well, I stream to 3 destinations now, don't I?
True, we should give you a rough idea on viewer
I haven't looked
retention?
at the analytics. I didn't look at it.
Ah, right, okay.
I didn't look at the analytics. I can't remember offhand what I'm at on subs as well. My sub count has gone up.
I'm still amazed that I'm over 10, you know. I don't mean in age, I mean in subs.
I'm at 885.
885, wow.
I'm going to the 9 and I will get there.
You aiming for the 1K?
Yes, I'm aiming for the 1K.
He's got it, and he's in reach. He was in reach.
It is literally an arm's reach.
Well, I thought you might have been watching the match tonight, seeing as
no, I'm
Kevin
blue.
has been. You're blue.
Yeah,
well, it doesn't mean you have to root for the Reds. You might have been watching it to see if they lose.
No, they're not going though. They're already hammering them.
3-0, I believe. 3-0.
Yes. Yeah. No, because I've got a video coming out for. I've got a video tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I've got a very special video coming out on Thursday. But
we don't talk about your off YouTube exploits on here, please.
No, it's actually through the YouTube channel. I've got an interview on YouTube with.
Oh, awesome! Who are you interviewing, or are you being the interview?
No, I'm being interviewed by a YouTuber.
Oh, excellent! Excellent.
There'll be more said about it tomorrow on my stream. I'm live.
Yeah. Keep that done, mate. Keep that as that's on your channel.
Put it this way. No, I can release it. I can say not a problem. I can say it's Josh Ranston Design. He's American.
Okay.
He's actually invited me onto his channel to interview the modeler. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So that's going to be a nice 2.5 hour long.
Hey, that's true. That one there, positive.
Mental attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that name actually.
Yeah.
That is quite fun. It does keep Leicester below Liverpool.
Yeah, it does. I'm only going to come up for a bit because I've got a busy day tomorrow before my stream. I've got a bit, but I will change cameras.
Oh, go on. Oh, we have displays.
Yeah. Oh, I have been working on something.
Once you change the camera, I'll put you up, babe. Let's have a look.
I have been working on something. That is that oil tanker now finished.
Oh, nice. It looks like Meta from Cars.
It's actually been weathered. That's all weathering powders on it.
Dude, have you seen Cars, the Disney movie?
Yes, that's how it looked.
It looks like Meta.
Yeah, it does. It's actually a 1/75th, 72 scale Japanese Army. Fuel tanker.
You need to make that your first conversion. Get another one, change it back into a tow truck, give it a face and goofy teeth, and do one to that detail and make it Meta and see if anyone notices.
Well, believe it or not, that was sent to me. That was sent to me by a subscriber.
Oh, nice.
That's my first kit. That's my third plastic kit. I've got to do some pictures of it and get it up on. I'll be putting up on. I'm going to start doing that.
My old friends.
I'm going to be starting to do polls as well with my channel.
Starting polls?
Polls on my channel. If you'd have been watching lately, I've been using my community tab to share a lot of people out that are doing live streams recently.
I see. I tried using my community tab. I think it was last week.
I used it in one day. I used it 3 times. In one day, I used it 3 times.
I'm guessing that's what you're supposed to do. Though is keep. That's what
Yeah.
that's there for, is to keep everybody up to date. And why did they have to use gold on these and yellow?
Yeah.
Really? So yeah, so the community tab, I think that's how it's supposed to be used, as a much more of a frequent use thing
Yes.
rather than just one off. So as you've noticed with my channel, I don't do anything really by the normal YouTube way. So I completely use the community tab wrong, which doesn't help. But I did try my first poll and it did work.
Yeah.
The more people vote on it, the better, really. So that way,
Yeah. You can
get, I
notice
think I
as
had
well. I've got
8.
a new face. I've got a new face cam.
It's at a much higher angle.
Yes, it's actually on the other bench. It's I that's how I want it set up.
So you want it from further?
Yes, because it's actually if I
More like that.
officially move it, I can officially move it. It does actually move and goes
Another Evertonian.
Goes near my spray booth, because that's where my spray booth is. I'm actually trying to.
See, I want an airbrush, but I do not have the room for a spray booth. So I'm going to be very limited on when I can actually do my spraying.
Yes, I've got a room. I'm sorry, I'm rubbing it in again.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry about it. There's nothing much you can do about it. So yeah, I'm going to essentially mine's going to be daytime and open window.
You can do it.
I can do it,
but it can be done.
Just not at 1:30 in the morning.
No.
Because the one I want is actually quite noisy, because it's got a tank with it, as well as having a compressor. It's got a tank that it fills.
Yeah, I'm looking at another one.
Well, the one I was looking at is £100, and you get the compressor, the airbrush, the hose, and I think you get a 3mm needle with it as well.
Yeah, that one there that I've got, I've been doing some research on it. Believe it or not, I can actually put that on a compressor if I want to.
What do you mean, put it onto a compressor or put it onto a tank?
Take it out of on.
Yeah.
Put it onto a proper tank.
Oh, so it'll then fill the. Yeah, so it'll fill the tank first and then feed from the tank afterwards, so it's not burning all its power all at once, constantly.
Yeah,
I've got to say it helped to maintain a steady flow. Being able to have a constant pressure rather than having it fluctuate.
He's not quite a YouTuber yet, but he's up on a lot of he's up on a friend's panel. I've been on 3 panels today, build, and that's how come I got that done. I've been on 3 live streams today. Oh, I went up on Sprue and Glow, David.
Yeah.
Then from that, I went on to Lindsay's build, which is usually in mine. Then after that, I went from Lindsay's build to Dremel builder Daniel, that's Sweden, on his panel. And then,
has Jackie seen you today?
Yes, she has seen me, because what I was having in between, I was coming off panel. I was coming off to stretch my legs, because I needed to stretch my legs. I needed to stretch my legs, because I've been in front of the workbench. That's why I'm not having a late one tonight, because I've been working solid on the computer, getting intros done. I've been working solid for not just for my channel. I've been working on intros for a friend's channel as well.
Nice. I've still got to look into this. Yeah, from that intro that you sent me, that you did for me, which thank you again very much.
Yeah, it's okay.
Because it's given me a good starting platform.
Yeah, it has. It does. Have you not been over and had a look on Canva?
I've not. I said over the past couple of weeks, the only times I've really been on my PCs when I've been here. I've been doing live.
Yeah.
That's the only real time I've been on my PC.
Yeah, you want to go over and have a look at Canva yourself. There's some good stuff you can create on there.
Well, there's a few ideas.
You'll
I
be able
can't-
to do those ideas on there as well.
I'll have to look at the parameter limited.
I'm looking at doing auto sketching as well. The thingy sketch where you put
Yeah, you put your picture parameters in, and it brings up and it does you an image of within those parameters. Yeah, I've seen those. I've seen some of those. Some of those come up really nice.
Streams lately that's involved with that, and I'm going on to a lot. I'll tell you if another channel that I follow a lot of, the model officer.
It's the model. I've not seen the model officer.
He's a lot to do with modeling with heroes.
Right. Okay. So
that helps out veterans. It's a good channel to be involved with. Because I'm going down the road of plastic. I'm doing a lot of. I'm going to be doing plastic models and diorama builds. I've got a big diorama build I'm doing. That's what this is for. That's on the bench. I'm doing a big build of a diorama.
Well, apart from dioramas, I should imagine ball action's quite popular as well with them. Evening, Brian. How you doing, man? Thank you very much for joining us.
Right.
Actually, while I'm looking up at the comments, Sinscape
Studio.
No,
I was watching the comments. I ain't got my third monitor on. Be nice.
Sinscape Studio, who I had up last week. They are a commission painter for this 40k stuff.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting that one, didn't I?
Oh yes, just at the end because you joined literally just as I was going. I'm thinking, right, I'll get ready to leave, and then you jumped up. It's like,
Yeah, it's because where I was busy doing other stuff on the computer, so I was editing and everything. And when I'm doing stuff like that, my computer does not like being up on panels and editing. What computer does, even if it's a gaming computer, it still struggles.
Really? He struggles that much being up on them when I'm running that many.
No, when sometimes if you using that much different software, I had about 10 windows open.
Yeah, you mean your biggest drag's always going to be video editing or music?
Yeah, it is.
Software.
It uses a lot of CPU
and RAM.
Yeah,
I mean, you need if you're going to do video or music software, you want at least 32 gig of RAM, and you want at least an i7 in your machine.
Yeah.
If you've not got an i7,
this laptop has now been maxed out to the max. Can't have it any bigger.
Oh, I try with mine, my PC now. It's only got an i5 in it, and it's got 8 gig of RAM. And just starting Premiere Pro takes about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it will.
And it's like, oh God, come on! I need to,
get the hamster working.
Yeah, essentially, come on, get around
there. Yeah, get the hamster working.
But it doesn't always work. So I've had to abandon my editing at the moment because my computer just can't handle.
Have you got Windows 10 on your
yes.
computer?
Yes,
it keeps trying. Have you not tried the Windows 10 editor?
No, but it keeps trying to force me to upgrade to Windows 11, and I keep telling it where it can go stick it.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna jump. I'm going to jump off anyway, mate, because I've got to get an early start tomorrow.
No worries, Lee. Thank you very much for coming up and joining me this
evening.
No,
I thought I would come up on panel. I was going to. I said hello in the chat, and I thought I'll jump up just for a bit to say it's just I've got an early start tomorrow. I've got some running around to do before I'm live. So
Yes, you
thank
will
you
be.
for letting me up again.
Always a pleasure, mate. Always a pleasure. I'm
Um,
just glad I don't get to come up in yours as much as I'd like because I see it go
Yeah,
off.
well,
It's like
I'm live tomorrow if you're about at 2:00.
See, I know you'll be live tomorrow because I know what I'll do because I'll put my spare phone, which is this one at the moment, and I put it on working and and I just sit there and I leave it on in the background because 2:00 is I'm usually busy trying to get the house ready for when the youngest arrives home.
Yeah, no problem.
Essentially,
So you can always lurk anyway. You're always welcome.
so I do pop over. I just don't
Yes,
talk
no
too
problem.
much. But yes, I do want
Don't,
to come up more.
Helen. If you suggestion, do not jump to Windows 11.
No,
way.
no.
I've got it on a tower that's over there, and I want to kick it and drop it in the stream.
The stream. You're in Liverpool. There's a much better place for you to drop it than the stream.
Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to get it too wet.
I was going to say, just jump on ferry and drop it halfway across.
I know, yeah. But thank you again for letting me up on panel, and I'll
worries, mate.
see you when you're next live next week, or I'll probably see you in Angie's.
Well, I've been missing a lot of Angie's as well because of the lateness of it. Angie's
Yeah, I know.
time
I've
scale
had to watch
is
it on
way out.
rerun.
Most of the time, if I had to
I may
cut
see
to-
you. I may see Helen if she comes over onto mine, because she didn't
Yes.
do last time. Because what she does,
I
she
also-
either goes on mine. She either goes on mine or on Connie's, because we're streaming to Connie's channel now.
Oh, so Connie's actually started up the channel properly now rather than just.
She's streaming to it, yes. Well, she's a host with my StreamYards. We share the StreamYards.
That's what I
She
mean.
was
Rather than just being a co-host with you, she's actually doing her own channel now as well.
She's not putting content on there. She goes on a lot of panels. She was on after me. We went on to Hobby Time live stream in the States.
Oh, right,
on
okay.
Sunday. She's doing a lot of going on to panels more. But yeah, thank you for having me. And I'm going to jump off because I've got stuff to do before tomorrow. So
Of
I may
course.
see you tomorrow, Helen, and you have a good day tomorrow, everyone, and tonight, whatever you're doing. So it's a big bye from me, and I'll see you whenever. Bye for now.
See you later, man. See you later.
See you later.
Thank you very much for coming. You don't have to do your thingy every time on your channel. You don't have to do your channel leave thing unless you want to. Of course, I'm not going to stop you. Quite happily sit there and let you do your usual channel close as you leave. But don't feel obliged to. Much more relaxed attitude. Much more relaxed attitude. I am a Bob Ross fan after all, and you can't be stressed if you're a Bob Ross fan. Well, you can. You can just never buy anything that's got his name on it because the dirty, cheating people are cheating him out of his money. But other than that, yeah, I can be a Bob Ross fan. I'm just never going to buy his products because they've got nothing to do with him anymore. It's Kowalski's. They own it, and they are not Bob Ross. Nor are they Bob Ross's son. So. As far as I'm concerned, that means it has absolutely bugger all to do with Bob. That was a bit bright on the dry brushing on that one, wasn't it? He's still wet, which is annoying. Very irritating. No worries, Lee. Thank you very much for coming up, man, and have a good evening. Hope you don't get too much in trouble for talking to a Mancunian on the internet. Well, strange ones, anyway. Mr. Sergeant, Lee, Commandery, thingy dude. You get. So essentially, Sinscape, you're about doing this, but in 2 stages rather than the one that I do it in. I shortcut rather than do the 2 stages. I just cut straight to the ivory part of it rather than going grey first. So it does look a little bit so compared to a flat black. Once you give it the, why is this just not right this evening? There we go. Rather than the flat black, which is literally as it is, flat black. Once you give it the dry brushes, Synscape was mentioning earlier, it does bring out those extra little bits of detail. So it's easier to pick them out and see whether or not you're doing the speed painting contrast method or you're doing just general painting itself. So even if you just got to paint it normally, having those raised areas brought out already for you, it does help so much. Just to know, right, okay, I need to highlight there, I need to make that bit shine out more, I need to make that bit shine out more, that bit I can afford to leave, that bit I can afford to let it stay in shadow. Just little bits like that. I need a dry faster debugger machine, also known as a very, very small hairdryer. And blowing into the microphone, wonderful, isn't it? I'm sorry about that, but yeah, this is the closest thing I've got to a dry faster debugger machine, which is just blowing on it and hoping I can do it. How have you got a haircut on you? Where have you come from? I try to even think, but never mind for now. That bit needs a little bit of a recover in black. There we go. Just a touch up. Just a touch up. Doesn't need a lot. But I'm still in the middle of waiting for him to dry, which I'm not happy about. Should dry already. Okay, shoulder pads. While I'm in the waiting for that to actually dry eventually, hopefully him little bucket just dry, I'm going to start work on shoulder pads. Yeah, well, it's getting way too much water. Way too wet. But we're back to blue again. But at least at this point I can start doing parts while other bits are drying. The sheer blocks of these chunky, I mean they are chunky pads. I mean, it does get called tactical dreadnought armor, so it imposes a little view in your mind of what a tactical dreadnought armor might look like. It's certainly not something light and flimsy, is it? The word dreadnought doesn't usually envisage things like Mr. Muscle. I've got to get round the crux dominatus. And for anyone not 40k literate, that's that little skull thing on his shoulder there. And it's a thing that gives him his invulnerable save on the tabletop. So we like that. Or at least it was. I don't know if they're going to change that in the law. So much has changed in the law since I first started playing this game. This is where Sinscape sits there going, no, you painted it wrong. You're supposed to always paint like that. And starts screaming at the monitor at me. But it doesn't matter because I can't hear them. And I paint how I paint. As everyone always should do. Paint how they paint. That's why people like Sinscape exist. If you want to paint how someone else paints, you can pay them for it. Technically, I will do the same thing as well. It's just I have no idea on my own personal talents whether or not I'll be able to complete it up to a standard that somebody will be willing to pay for, and B, how much I'll charge. I have no idea. I don't think I'm that good of a painter. Some people may disagree. Some people may completely and utterly agree with me. It's a great thing about opinions. Yeah, I wouldn't know how to even grade a painting standard. And I have to start finishing a lot more models, so I can start putting finished pieces out there if I wanted to do that, which is really the point I'm starting to get to now. Because most of my army has now got the 3 colours done, which was the initial plan when I started the channel last year, was it? I believe it was. Is to get everything up to a 3 colour minimum, so it was what's known as battle ready. I'm pretty much there now with all of it. Yes, dipping the model in paint is definitely the wrong way. You don't want to. The duels method is a bad method. So yeah, once I've got the first stage done, it's then up to the detailing stage and the washing stage. That's going to be a whole different ball game as well. You start seeing another big difference between the models. For instance, even just going from something like that bright gold to be able to dull it down and then make it look a little bit, washing and doing that stage is big difference for it. Although I think I've still got more gold to do on that one. But that's not Terminator, that's Age of Sigma, that's something else. I shouldn't even be looking at that really, but I just happen to like the models. And they give me a spare part that I really want. In fact, they give me 2 of them because I got 2 of them. So now I have 2 lances, or at least spears that will suffice as a lance. I've just got to sort out one of the hands. Because I need to be a single-handed weapon, and at the moment this is a double-handed weapon. With how thin it is, I don't really want to attack it with a Dremel or anything too high-powered, because it is ridiculously tiny. In fact, where is it? There it is. And so I need to take that hand off, and you can see the hand itself is absolutely diddy, but it's a nice lance, and I've got 2 of them, so I'm quite happy about them. I just remembered something else I've got to do as well. Speaking of knights and lances, I've got to draw a dragon. I need to draw a dragon. Completely irrelevant to anything that's going on at the moment. Yeah, it's my memory working as it does, reminding me of things that I said 2 weeks ago. At inopportune moments to actually get the task done. when I come to a point where I'll be able to get the task done, I won't be able to remember what it is. But now that it's not the opportune moment to get it done, it's popped into my head. Of course it has. It's been ages since I've seen Knight's Tale. I have not. Knight's Tale. That's the one with Heath Ledger in, isn't it? I think that's the one with Heath Ledger in. Pretty sure it is. Could be wrong though. I was once. I think it was 1987. Blue paint. So I do remember the right film. I just don't remember it very well. I don't think I've seen it. Coming close to, well, I don't know how old the film is technically, but I know I've not seen it for well over a decade, if not longer. Maybe somewhere around about 2007 or 2009, was it? It might have even been earlier than that, to be quite honest. Although I don't remember much about it. I do remember it being a fun, family-ish film. Obviously, before directors decided they wanted to go off and break Heath Ledger by making him play silly parts that he shouldn't be playing in his mental health state. But hey, he did a good job on that one. I liked it. He was a good actor. Slightly controversial opinion that he's not the best Joker, but as far as I'm concerned, the best Joker is the animated one, not a live action one. So that discussion's kind of mute a little bit. Because it's more comparing two different mediums for the films, and animation is always far better for comic books than live action. You can just do what you need to easier. It transfers so much better. I'm not going to do the old Terminator thing, which was the chevrons on the fists from the old second edition and first edition ideas of power fists. However, the storm bolters are going to be red, so I don't want red power fists. I think that's what I've gone for on the others. I have to double check with that, but I do know that the storm bolters are going to end up being red. As pretty much every solid round firing weapon that will be in the army. Bolt guns, shotguns, storm bolters, combi bolters to a degree, because I've got to get the combi part on there. Not liking those new rules for the combi bolters, they look absolutely awful. One time you used to be able to choose whether or not you took a melter or a plasma, or essentially tailor it towards what you want it to do. Just stuck under a generic profile that's not good, really. I'm feeling the standard Stern Guard, whatever I think is Vengeance bolter or whatever special kind of bolter it is going to end up turning out to be better. It's all those people like me who actually went out and bothered to the effort to be able to put their squads with the combi weapons that they wanted. I'm gutted now because there was no bloody point. Until next edition, when turn them all back and give them all the special profiles again. That's the great thing about proxying. As long as you can pretty much clearly go, those are them. This is what's written on my point sheet, so this is what I'm going to use. Ta-da. WYSIWYG is fantastic, but it's impractical sometimes. I mean, the hobby's expensive enough as it is, without all the extra little bits you would have to buy and magnetize and clean up just to be able to do every option that the codex possibly requires to do. It's just stupid. But if you're going to proxy, you've at least got to do reasonable proxies. So there's no point. You can't really turn around and get, say, this little guy and say, right, this is going to be that 7-inch tall. No, doesn't work like that. Reasonable proxies, of course, keep them within size comparisons. As I've used Terminators to represent aggressors before now. Are they the same size? I know they were pretty close to being the same size. So, yeah, I use them as aggressors just to fill out captains. Because at the time, I only had, I think it was 2 units of 3. So I could make it into 3 units of 3. I supplemented a sergeant. I supplemented one model and made the Terminator the sergeant model in the unit for each one and give them all a Terminator. So it does become useful as long as your opponent allows it. And your opponent's a complete git and says, no, it's got to play WYSIWYG, then well, you're screwed and you're probably not going to play that game. But most people are usually okay as long as you explain to them first what it is. Yep, you see, it's a problem with magnetizing. I don't have my magnetize. I glue them. I glue them every time because yeah, losing stuff off them is not fun. And if it's magnetized, and not attached, all it takes is a opposing force magnet to come near it that you weren't expecting, another weapon or something from another model, and it can just shove your weapon off the table. Gone. That's it. Where's that thunder hammer gone? Don't know. Disappeared months ago. It's never a good idea. Well, say never a good idea. It's okay for vehicles where you have big chunky things, but a lot of them you could get to push fit. Like Russ's, their cannons, a lot of them will push fit if you do it right. I'm not sure about the bigger tanks like the Baneblade and the Shadow Sword and all those variants. All the newer, what's it called? Rogel Dawn, that's the one. The Rogel Dawn, the one that's kind of in between a Lehman Russ and a Baneblade. You get the Rogel Dawn. Which, yeah, I don't think they needed. They had the Lehman Russ, they had the Basilisk. They didn't need a Rogel Dawn battle tank. They had a battle tank which was sufficient enough to go up alongside a Baneblade as a heavy but not super heavy vehicle. Although I'm still gutted that the Space Wolves can't take Lehman Russes when they used to be able to. But you kind of think it would make sense, seeing as the tank pattern is named after their Primarch, that they would keep some. They would have some. And they did at one point. And now you can't. It does look cool if you can magnetize them and have them all WYSIWYG. I can't deny that, but I just find it impractical. Some people think it's the best way to go and swear by it, and they can by all means do that if they wish. I just don't. I prefer, right, okay, I'm going to glue them together. That's the model. Then if I need to tell them to proxy it, then I can. Provided as I said, I play in a closed group, so proxy is quite frequent because of the expense of this hobby. Grey Knight player changing between halberds and falchions and hammers and swords when he's moving, trying different things out on his Terminators and his Paladins and all the other bloody Grey Knight stuff that kicks my ass when I let him get too close. Don't get me wrong, I don't do much to him except for a couple of units that can, like Eradicators and some things with plasma. And that stuff gets through. Standard bolters just bounce off the bloody things. Especially when they had Armour of Contempt. I mean, I loved it for me, but wasn't so happy about it for my opponents. It stopped me being a little bit of a fan, as quite as effective. So what have we got here? Magnetizing. There was no point with these anyway because they were the easy build ones. So magnetizing was absolutely pointless with these. They only came with one selection, so there was no options. But the few boxes where I have had the full box set, they like the Centurion Devastators. I would have liked to be able to convert them over into Assault Centurions and give them the close combat setup as opposed to the range setup. But the amount of work in the magnetization of it was just far too much. Because it wasn't just the weapons that I had to magnetize, it was certain parts of the arms and the chest as well. Because it was a complete strip out change. So I decided, no, I'm just not going to do it. Same with the Stern Guard Veterans. I didn't have enough weapons to do the Vanguard Veterans the way I wanted to. So they've all got a hodgepodge of different weapons just to make them stand out as the Veterans. One's got a fist, one's got a hammer, one's got a power sword, and one's got 2 Blood Angel specific chainswords. Don't ask how they got them. Shh. No, they're good stand-ins with the Blood Angels. That's how they got them. Oh, I already done you. Is your belt been done? Nope. So you said what? Half an hour per model, and we going for an hour and 15? I'm not doing too badly, I don't think. I could be doing a lot better, but I could be doing a lot worse as well. Oh, I got you quite a heavy dry brush on you, didn't I? Ah, keep my painting within the camera. It's always help. Does always help. Just one more. Oh no, your belt's already been done. You're ding 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 ding. Yay! And I have some. I haven't decided yet. What I'm going to do is going to get 3 basic colours down first. So it's the black, the blue, and get the raised areas highlighted. Then I might use contrast just to deepen up the black afterwards. But because I'm running low on contrast, I'm using it sparingly. So I'm going to see whether or not I actually need it, or whether or not I can get away with a null wash just to help dull it all down. But we shall see after I've done the lead, to at least get them to the 3 colour minimum that I've got the rest of the army to. And that also gives the ivory a chance to dry, because for some reason that ivory doesn't dry immediately super quick like I want it to. Well, nothing ever happens immediately super quick like I want it to, which is why I usually end up whinging and complaining about it. So-called 21st century and you're still waiting for load screens. Oh, how long until I have to go get another cheap pack of brushes? I'm not sure. But I don't think it's going to be too long. Now, there is coming up a week where I will not be going live on Monday. So hopefully over the next couple of weeks I'll manage to squeeze in an extra live or 2 to make up for it. But yeah, there's going to be one Monday where I won't be live. I will not be at home for that evening, so I won't be able to do much. I'm certainly not going to attempt to do off mobile data. Just no, not a chance. The reception where I'm going to be bad enough as it is to even attempt to do something off mobile data will not work. On Amazon. Right, what did I say a minute ago that would require the response of on Amazon? Okay, I don't know. I'm lost now. More context, please, Sinscape, because yeah, remember you remember you talking to me. It's not so obvious that even like you couldn't avoid it like a slap to the face. Then I won't get it. I won't understand. I can do subtlety. I just don't understand it. So when it's used so minimally for me. Oh. Yes, yes, these are acrylics. yeah, the other one being enamel. Yeah, these are the water-based acrylics. So pretty much any brush will be sufficient. Real hairbrush, synthetic hair brushes, work perfectly fine with them all. See, 30 quid for 12 brushes is expensive for me. I'm thinking like 2 quid for 8. Because I don't want to get my good brushes mashed up, so for base layering, I'd much rather use a cheaper brush and then use my decent brushes when I'm actually doing something that needs to be done with a good brush. I don't really like using good brushes for just running over standard base layers. Certainly not for dry brushes. And although everyone screams and shouts at how good makeup brushes are for dry brushes, and yes, they are good for dry brushes, they fall apart way too easily. Even the supposed good ones from like Body Shop and things like that just disintegrating in my hands. It was not good. They got the desired effect very well, but unsustainable cost-wise. See, I'm not on the camera again. This is where I need a co-host like Lee. So like Captain or BC, if they would agree to do it. Well, I can at least have somebody tell me you're not in camera shot. And it's a verbal. So it's not even like I can get away with. I wasn't looking at the screen. No, somebody's shouting down my ear hole. I can get back in. So it does help. See, already going from just the plain black that they started as to just doing red and blue, so much more noticeable. Even compared to, actually no, because he's got more of a zenithal prime because I used the airbrush on him. And he's very bright from the front. So he was possibly not the best idea to try it against. Galactic. There we go. You see, just that's how you lose paints. So you just adding that extra 2 little bits of colour onto it makes them stand out a lot more compared to something that's just the grey and black. So 2 more star bolters to do. And that's this unit of 5 Terminators caught up with the rest of the army as far as base colours go. Some of these may require a second coat afterwards, but I shall let it dry and see in daylight properly tomorrow, just to make sure how much is peeking through and what needs to be done. Now I can already see that this the fine detail work is going to be doing me in. Especially on these, because that Aquila is absolutely tiny and that's supposed to be gold. I'm not sure how well that's going to go. Although while I do have... No, because if I do wash it, it'll go over the red, so I won't do the red now. I was going to do the eyes. Maybe might not be such a good idea right now. Or should it? Do I think I can get it? Sorry for this. Sorry. No, I didn't do too badly on that one. But because of my... I'm going to call it my impediment. I have to turn it over to the other side. That could be a lot worse. How are we doing, Casper? You okay, mate? Buy them. Buy them. If I was to 3D print these actual figures and broadcast it all over YouTube, I would have a lawsuit on my hands. So I bought these figures. In fact, I bought these figures before 3D printing actually became a thing, so I'm alright with these ones. And I don't own a 3D printer, so I can't 3D print on it because do not have the technology nor the data. I'm sure it is possible and they are out there, as most things that have a copyright on nowadays are available without the copyright. Evening, Captain. How are you doing, mate? It's been a long time since we've had a talk. I hope you're well. And the family as well, of course. So yeah, I'm sure as most things have been cracked, copyrighted, copyright broken, copied, duplicated, and sold on various foreign markets, that it's possible for these as well. To think it's not would be naive. I may look stupid, I may look dumb, but it's not as dumb as I look, which is quite a marvel within itself. I know it's quite an amazing feat, but I'm not as dumb as I look. I have forgotten to do his gun red though, which is luckily he's the last one I picked up to do the eyes. And also we're getting close to wrapping up, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me this evening while I continue to peg this last gun red. If anyone's got anything that I would normally have to paint red that you can think of now, then please type it in the comments. Anyone who's watched enough of these to go, oh, for God's sake, I'm sick of painting these red. If anything like that pops into your mind, please mention it now so I can hopefully get it done before anything really stupid happens. And like, I wash them and then realise that I've got to go back and paint all this stuff. Or for the moment, I think I've done. There's going to be something that I've forgotten, so no doubt you will see the Terminators again anyway. Because I don't expect you to know everything that I do on mine. Was you watching the Everton game? Sorry, the Liverpool game, Captain? And good night if you've already left, by the way. And thank you for calling in. I believe Liverpool was kicking backside as far as Kev was telling us. I don't know what score it ended up. Purity seals. See, I knew there'd be something. Right, purity seals. There's no way in hell you, Captain Dude, Captain of Terminators, are not going to have a purity seal on you. You have, but it's hidden under your arm. So I only really need to get around that back bit there. That's fine. I can deal with that one. Your purity seals on your leg. Purity seals. I hate these things. You don't go get them all now. You never find them later on. Almost every model has at least one somewhere. Looking for me, these are pretty much copy print easy models, so you should all be on the same place. He says they should be all in the same place, picking up a model where it's not. It's actually hidden under a piece of. See, 3 of them, I'll have it here. 2 of them, no. No. 3 of them I'll have on the leg, 2 of them, not at all. 3-0 keeps you above them. Keeps you above Leicester. As I found out this evening. I don't follow football overly too much, but I'd like to know if Manchester United are winning. So from the initial startup, which was, well, they needed, right, let's move that so we can actually see me a little bit easier. So the initial startup where they're pretty much all weird grey black and not actually painted in much of a method. They've now got a little bit of the highlighting and detailing bringing out. They're easily spotted on the table. So if I was to put them on the table and go, right, okay, the guys in black and blue are fighting the guys in gold, you can quite easily tell which side is which is the main point of having a battle ready. I don't fancy the guys in gold's chances, if that was the case, by the way. If it was a Terminator versus... In fact, no, they've probably got a better chance because they've got Griff Holmes and other guys with big hammers that I'm currently working on as well. He's a nice model. He's a very nice model. Do like his cloak, and I was tempted to steal part of it, but I would have been getting 2 and I didn't have the foresight at the time. We do what we do. We do what we can. And I've got 5 little, let's see, if I bring it close, you can see shields here. Now, I would like something on them, but I would also like something on the shoulder pads as well. So I think the shoulder pad there is going to get the elite symbol, which the elite one is the, I think it's the cross. I think the elite symbol is a cross. And possibly have company. Sorry, company on there. So in which case it will be a first company. Little Roman numeral on each one of those, possibly in blue. I'll have to think about that. It's going to be quite something. While I do have these on here, does that still work out? See, that's gotta thank Buzzard for that, because that still works. Because that's had no silver painted on the blade. That's black blade with pencil lines across it. That still looks okay. I'm going to have to thank him for that, because that's not a bad little one at all. Okay, so I'm done reasonably well. I'm happy with my accomplishment for this evening. Next week, though, Terminators will be put to one side. and these things will be coming out now. I have one currently in pieces that I started off already painting, which is why all the drivers and everything's all separated. But I've got one just so you can actually see the model. I've not started painting at all yet. Now I may try some contrast methods on this because I do have light and dark points. So the light is coming from here, and this side is much more shaded. So I have tried a contrasting, a zenithal type effect on this one. So next week I'll be looking at working on the two chariots. The zenithal effect didn't quite work as well on these, but it came out okay. I've just got to see how it goes back together in reassembly once I've painted everything, because getting into some of those places was just ridiculous. So I'm going to have to paint it in pieces and then reattach them all afterwards. So that's next week's plan. If anyone's got any future ideas that they would like me to do, whether it be working on a specific company, a specific unit, please post comments, either on community tabs or on videos. I do look at them and I will try to respond to them. Thank you everybody for joining me this evening, and obviously if you're sat at home you'll be fine, but if you're not sat at home, please drive safe and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you for coming.